little clip, we learned about this magic triangle and how we can use that little magic triangle to use the velocity equation 3 different ways. We said the velocity equals displacement divided by time. Well, let's go ahead and work 3 simple problems. One for velocity, one for displacement, and one for time. Let's suppose we have a car that has a displacement of 400 kilometers in a time equal to 3 hours. Well, the first problem we're going to solve is, what is the average velocity of this car that travels 400 kilometers in a time of 3 hours? And so since we're looking for velocity, and we know the displacement, and we know the time, we're going to set the problem up like this. Velocity equals displacement divided by time. Now we simply plug in the displacement, 400 kilometers, divide it by the time, 3 hours, and the calculator says that the answer is 133 kilometers per hour. So the velocity of a car that travels 400 kilometers in 3 hours is 133 kilometers per hour. Simply means, on average, this car would travel 133 kilometers every hour. Well, let's work a second problem. And this time, using this velocity for our car, we're going to find out how far, or with what displacement, the car would have if it travels for a particular time. And let's give it a time of, say, 2.5 hours. So since we're going to be looking in the second problem at displacement, our equation becomes displacement equals velocity times time. Displacement equals velocity times time. The displacement then is equal to the velocity, and we said it was 133 kilometers per hour in the last problem, times the time, and I just picked a time off the top of my head. I said 2.5 hours. So how far will this car go in 2.5 hours? Work this out, 133 times 2.5, and we get 333, and that's going to be kilometers. Why? Because the hours factor out. And that seems pretty logical, because after all, we're looking for a displacement, and that is a displacement unit. A kilometer is a displacement unit. Now our third problem, we're going to calculate how long it will take the car to travel a certain displacement. And let's say our car is going to travel 500 kilometers. How long will it take the car to travel 500 kilometers? Well, that's a time problem. And we know that time is equal to displacement divided by velocity. Again, time is equal to displacement divided by velocity. Time is equal to displacement divided by velocity. The displacement, we said 500 kilometers. And again, the velocity of our car from the first problem is 133 kilometers per hour. And the calculator tells us that it's going to take 3.8 hours to travel 500 kilometers. You notice that the kilometers factors out. That leaves hours for the answer. The unit in the answer is hours, and that sounds pretty reasonable because an hour is a time unit, and that's what we're looking for. So there are 3 ways to solve a velocity problem. For velocity, for displacement and for time. Velocity is displacement divided by time. Displacement is velocity times time. And time equals displacement divided by velocity.